Hey, hello there! Welcome back to another episode of BoardgamingXP, the show where I talk a lot about board games and card games and the themes that I so much love to play on those games. In this episode, we will be talking about fantasy battles. Yes, I love a good combat player competition battle style game, and most of the games that I play in my gaming group are very, player versus player cutthroat-ish games. We don't play nice games. We kind of don't like cooperatives and stuff. We do have them. We do own cooperative games, but it seems that every time we have the chance to go at each other's throat and just every man for himself, that's probably what we will go for most of the times. And it's obvious because it's cool, it's fun, and we can't do that in real life. So yeah, we can't chop each other's head in real life. So I'm going to suggest 5 games that I feel are probably the best games that capture the essence of what an epic fantasy battle feels like. Think fantasy, think huge armies clashing head to head, just boom, with special powers and magic and dragons and stuff. Think that fantasy battle type, okay? So let's go on to number 1. Number 1 is a game that requires a bit of an explanation about my gaming story. I first started off as a video gamer. I hadn't, known any good board games. In fact, I didn't realize there was a board gaming industry at all back in the day. And it was my cousin who presented me to board games. But it started off with a very beautiful and still one of my favorites miniature game, and that is Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Yes, it's a miniature game, I know. But this is where it all started for me. From this, then I left to board games. But, man, Warhammer is just the game. If you play Warhammer seriously, you won't be able to play anything else because it's so time consuming. It will just soak up all of the time that you have available to either build the miniatures, paint the miniatures, make the lists, and obviously play. Each play will take a lot of hours. And we're just talking about a 2-player head-on. If you're playing with more players, it's just gonna go crazy. And we used to do that. Yeah, we had a lot of free time during our college days, so we played a lot of Warhammer, and we painted the miniatures, and we would make painting competitions and whatnot, and just really epic skirmish battles with a lot of buildings and scenarios. We would do all of that, and we loved it. And I'm still yet to this day trying to find a game that will actually replace that feeling, that will scratch the same itch as Warhammer did for me. So yeah, and I still haven't found it. And we, in our gaming group, we all have this say that when we retire, we will all go back to Warhammer and play it every single day. Play it till we die. So there's not much that I can say about this. It has your typical, measuring and wheeling and rolling for combat. So it's a miniatures game. There's no board. There's this grandiose scenario that you might make, and you can do so much with the minis. And there's so much rules reading and so stuff. This is an epic. This is as epic as it gets. I don't know anything epicier. I don't know anything that is heavier and more theme-wise juicier than this. It's just the sky's the limit. You can make your own army, your own race, whatever. You can do it. There's no limit. So I won't say much more about it because it would just require an entire video just to talk about it. So Warhammer Fantasy Battles, my number 1 fantasy battle themed game. And number 2 is a game that everybody probably already heard of now that the show is such a big success, and that is Game of Thrones, the board game. And I'm thinking Game of Thrones, the board game 2nd edition. Although there's not there's not big of a difference between the first edition and this edition, but you know, it has a few streamlined things, and the components seem a bit better, and the artwork is much more better. So yeah, why not go for this one? And it's out there, and it's not that costly. Yeah, it's probably a bit costly. So what can I say? It is as the series. There's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of conspiracy, a lot of, you know, alliances and broken alliances, and so many unpredictable things that will pop. The game has this beautiful board, so there's area movement and area control, and that's just it. The person who controls the most castles and strongholds is the winner, and that's it. That you're just striving to control as much castles and strongholds. And so, but the beauty of the mechanic is these small tokens that are the order tokens. You will place orders wherever you have troops, and these orders are placed face down. So you never know what other players are placing and what they will do with their orders and their troops. It could be a defensive order where they will have a bonus in defense. They could be a march order where they can move and eventually attack if they move into a contested area. They could just, you know, support, and that the support order is gorgeous. I'm not going to explain it. It's just awesome. There's so much stuff that you just don't know what players will do. So the finesse of this deduction bluffing mechanic is so like the TV show and the books. So if you like the TV show and you like the books and you want to have a good experience with your friends that is like this, like the show and like the books, with a lot of battle and a lot of competitions and area control and whatnot, this is a game I highly recommend. However, it is a heavy game. It will take a lot of time to play, so beware with that. And I recommend that you play with 6, no less than 6. If you play less than 6, it's just going to be weird. There's going to be a lot of empty spaces, and some players will be favored by that. They made a few things to balance that out, but still the best way to play it is with the 6 factions in the board. And here's my favorite. Go Lannisters. My third game presented on this video is a game that sort of scratches the itch that Warhammer does in a much more viable way, and that game is Dungeon Command. Dungeon Command is a game made by Wizards of the Coast, the publishers of Magic the Gathering, and the game is a miniatures game, skirmish miniatures game with a board, but it's essentially a card game. Okay, the game relies a lot on the cards, and the player who plays the cards to the best of their, who optimizes the cards best, is going to win without a doubt. So it relies a lot on the cards. But as it is still a miniature game. So you have movement, you have dice combat. Oh no dice combat, just card combat. You still, but it still is a miniatures game, and the miniatures are gorgeous. They're pre-painted miniatures. Each pack has a faction with all of the minis and all of the cards that faction needs. And so you just can buy one, and another player, another buddy of yours will buy another one, and you can just have a good game. And they will be balanced. They're very balanced, and I love that. So in our gaming group, everybody has a different faction, and we play together. Love playing this with 4 players. Beautiful, you know, 2-on-2. Love that, you know, and you probably already realized that I kind of like things that have a lot of players, and especially teams, you know, going at each other. I just love that. And you know, it's a cool game. It's gorgeous. The board makes it simple. You don't need to have rulers and, you know, measurements and stuff. So you just have these squares. It makes it easy for that. There's no dice. It's just the cards for combat and stuff. There's no dice, and it's simple, fast. It scratches really just the surface, but it does scratch the itch that Warhammer scratches really well. And And so if you like miniature gaming, this is a sort of a halfway between a board game and a miniatures game, skirmish style. So highly recommend this one, and it's just, you know, it's fantasy and it's battles. So it goes, and the theme just beautiful. And each faction has its own thing, you know, and you have the undeads and the dwarves and the whatnots and the elves. They have a very, the theme is all there, so it's beautiful. Recommend this one a lot. My number 4 is also again an epic game, and that game is Rune Wars. Rune Wars is this huge epic battle between a lot of armies and stuff, and it's based on the same world as Descent is, and Descent and Runebound, which is the Terrionoth world, fantasy world. And each player has a faction, again, each player has a faction and has these beautiful hexagonal modular board that's constantly changing and adds for a lot of replay value there. And with these 3D mountains, I just love. I think the second edition they took out the mountains, which kind of sucks. And so you will be having this faction of yours, but in addition to that, you also have your heroes, which are sort of like a side game. They're not connected to the military battle thing that's going on. They're just going after the dragon stones. No, the rune stones. Dragons. They're going after these stones. So, and these stones are really powerful. You start off with a couple of them, and they will give you really powerful powers, and that's pretty much what you're trying to achieve. So if you can get the stones with the heroes, or you can just, you know, whack the other races to the ground military-wise, it's your choice. There's these two different dynamics that you can win the game on. It's really interesting, really epic. And the modular board is gorgeous. I love that aspect of not knowing how the game will look, how the board will be. Love that. And you know, making the most out of the territories and trying to fight with the army, but also keeping the characters, the heroes, advancing and doing their quests and their dungeons and their stuff, and to get something with them. So. Rune Wars, you know, a bit costly, a bit lengthy, a bit epic, you know, but that seems to be the trade in all of these fantasy battles games. So you really can't have a really small, light game translate that feeling of, you know, epicness and huge armies. You know, it's just not possible. I'm sorry. So that's number 4. And number 5 is one of the most famous battles there is in the fantasy universe, and that game is War of the Ring, the board game. War of the Ring, I know it's a 2-player game, and people say that it can be played with 4, but I really liked playing it with 4, even though it's a 2-player game. And because we play 2-on-2, and I love that. War of the Ring is a recreation of the, you know, Lord of the Rings books and movies in a board game format, and it does it really well, which is kind of hard to believe. Well, it's not hard to believe if you think, well, the game is really big and really lengthy, so it's, yeah, you can sort of recreate a bit of that, but they do it really well. Beautiful miniatures, beautiful board of Middle Earth, and you have the Fellowship, which are the good players that are controlling the Fellowship together, and you have the players that and they control the armies of the Alliance, I don't know what's called, the good guys, and they're controlling the armies of the good guys. The armies of the good guys are kind of crappy. The armies of the evil ones, I still forget the name, god damn it. The bad guys are much better military-wise. They're much stronger in terms of military power. But you know, there's so many things. You have the tree ants. You have the whole thing. They go down to Moria, and you can bring out the Nazgul and the shenanigans that go on, the whole beautiful creatures that go on in that story, those books. They have the miniatures in this game. So you play those and you have a lot of fun. And you really feel the Fellowship advancing, trying to stay hidden, trying not to be found. They have a really nice mechanic to do that, to recreate that feeling of you don't know where they are. They're advancing, but you don't know where they are. They sometimes can show up, be revealed, and that's not good for the good guys. But the story follows that, and the military follows. So you can win on either the military way or the Fellowship way. So if the Fellowship is destroyed, the ring is captured and stuff, or if the... Well, I think there's only actually one way to win. Well, I don't know. The game is gorgeous. I really recommend this one, and if you can get your hands on the collector's edition, which is very valuable at this point, and I think you can only find it on eBay at a very, 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 very high cost, but if you can afford that, I recommend that as well. So, War of the Ring, the board game. And that's it for this list. I hope you find this list to be useful. If you're into fantasy, if you're into battles and you like that war-ish feeling, but with a touch of fantasy, with a bit of, not necessarily World War II recreations and stuff, which I kind of hate and I kind of despise players that play that sort of thing. But if you're not into that and you won't mind playing this, grab something, grab Game of Thrones. Go buy Game of Thrones. Highly recommend that one. And have a lot of fun. Invite your friends, get some beers, and just play. So, BoardgamingXP signing off. See you in the next video. Bye. Like, subscribe, share, like. Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe and share and comment and send me money. See ya.